Welcome, everybody. Steve with Sense Fidelity coming at you on the 7th of August, 2025, just a little after 5 o'clock on the Eastern Coast. Let's get right to it. All I want to do is clean up DC. If you know the song, you know the song. All I want to do is clean up DC. That's why the president put me here, Judge Janine Bureau. Why? Because DC's on fire, I guess. Trump putting more feds on D.C. streets in response to out-of-control youth violence. Remember that kid that we talked about yesterday? It was yesterday, the day before, he got beat the snot out of on the street, and Trump mentioned it before too. So here he is right there. The expected order follows Trump's making the District of Criminals, or Columbia, safe and beautiful. Executive order signed on March 28th, which established a task force dedicated to fighting crime and reducing illegal immigration in the city. It's pretty much like they say, they're trying to federalize DC. The digital euro is coming, and so is China's control model. The European Union is preparing to launch its digital euro in October 2025, 2 months from now. Christine Lagarde, head of the European Central Bank, openly praised China's system as the prototype. Quote, "It is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, where it is of use and of service to all citizens." She continues, "If it is done well, and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all European citizens. Decentralize is the answer. Get out, European, exit, Brexit, ethics, Frankets, Germanics, whatever it is. There should never be a European Union, just like it probably shouldn't be you can have a United States of America, but you don't need, it's not in the gospel that you need 50 states. Shockingly enough, it didn't start as 50. You can have 150. You can have 200 states. You don't have to have South Carolina's one as it is right now. It could be broken up. Tennessee used to be part of North Carolina. Kentucky used to be part of Virginia. Those guys split up. West Virginia used to be part of Virginia. Lincoln actually seceded that one together. What do you think? How Panama? We love Panama. We forced secession out of Colombia and took that over. Forced secession. After we hated secession, Teddy Roosevelt goes down and forces a secession out of that. Hated Jefferson Davis for being pro-secession, but it's okay when we do it. All across the board. Hypocrisy is the main thing in D.C. It's a virtue in D.C. The FAA will now let commercial drones fly beyond the operator's line of sight. Yay! The move will unleash American drone dominance, Transportation Secretary Sean Puff Daddy said. As a result, Duffy said, "You may get a Starbucks cup of coffee from a drone." Remember that video we played, was it last week, when the drone literally brought a coffee like that into this box and shot there? They see the same. If I see it, these guys see it. RFKJ to halt 500 million in mRNA vaccine projects. The move ends investments in projects involving mRNA tech. And Derek Bros, this is a good thing. If it applies to the 3 mRNA shots approved by the Trump administration in the last 6 months. Remember Stargate right off the bat, January. That one, there's been a couple other mRNA texts afterwards. And DJT said they were going to have a meeting about it. They were going to talk about this. So probably was going to put RFKJ in line. U.S. sides with El Salvador on eliminating presidential term limits, prompting democracy debate. Remember, this is DJT's boy, Bukele. This is the photo. Meets with President DJT in the Oval Office of the White House back in April. And of course, the U.S. State Department is going to be supporting it. They're friends. And the president here has been talking about doing the exact same thing as he has. In sports, Major League Baseball is calling up its first female umpire, promoting Jen Powell for a Marlins Braves game. MLB comes after 28 years of gender barrier for game officials were broken in the NBA because it's gotten better since. 10 years after in the NFL because it's gotten better since. And 3 years after men's soccer World Cup. I don't even watch that, so I don't know. I guess this will just help bring in more of the AI umpires because this is going to get bad too. Imagine trying to argue a home plate, get a managerial argument at home plate with a female umpire. That'll go well. 10th Amendment Center says lock him up. Breaking DJT just called the Epstein files blank and blank. That's the official statement from the man whose name is all over the flight logs, photo albums, and sealed testimony. He's not denying their existence. He's not explaining the relationship. He's trying to discredit the evidence altogether. Classic deflection. Of course. Chat control. EU proposal to scan all private messages gains momentum. The plan will mandate the messaging platforms, including WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram, must scan every message, photo, and video sent by users starting in October, even if end-to-end encryption is in place. Trump administration throws Maryland Democrats a lifeline to halt power blackout threat after green policies backfire. Maryland Governor Wes Moore and Democrat Party in Annapolis have managed to spark a manufactured power crisis in the mid-Atlantic state through failed green energy policies, which have driven power bills cost up more than 1,000% over several years and are now financially crushing working class households and mom and pop businesses. Again, you will own nothing and be happy because that is what they're trying to do. I mean, remember 4 years ago, they shut down everything but Walmart? I mean, yeah, mom and pop got killed, but no, Walmart was fine. National Democratic Socialists of America hosted a panel in Chicago where they advocated for the abolition of the family union for being inherently repressive and racist. Well, it's right in the lines of Karl Marx right there. So, yeah. Back in the day, by the way, socialists and communists was the exact same thing. They also want to destroy capitalism, promote sex work, and want more people ready for a revolt. It's just one of those things that we got to get. Do you see what the evil team is trying to do? The good guys usually do nothing. Live updates. U.S. import taxes hit levels not seen in nearly 100 years. Yay! Happy days are here again. You know, FDR type deal, same deal. Video shows Department of Justice official urging January 6th rioters to, quote, kill cops. Probably a Fed, probably a plant. And I mean, half that stuff there was, again, more people got arrested for that than the Epstein file. More people got arrested for talking about Israel than the Epstein list. Just in entertainment, South Park lets loose with the Trump, Satan, JD Vance menage a trois, ice raiding heaven, and Christy Gnomes shooting dogs. Again, it's kind of funny because they ended up putting, hey, so wait, we are relevant? And they said Homeland Security, join.ice.gov, using a clip from the South Park episode. So they're probably using that. White House will probably use that episode to promote them. The U.S. drive to find third countries to deport migrants is gaining momentum. Rwanda is the latest nation to accept citizens of other nationalities and allegations of repression and torture at Trump's chosen destinations. Did I say death camps? I meant happy camps. James Cameron warns of Terminator-style apocalypse if AI weaponized. I mean, shoot, we've been talking about this for a while, too. It's not anything different, but like Daniel O'Connor and I talked about it. AI is still, it can't become alive like this did. If you pull the plug, you pull the plug. Humans face 3 existential threats from superintelligence, nuclear weapons, and climate crisis, says Blockbuster director as he announces new Hiroshima project. Speaking of Rolling Stone to promote the publication of Ghosts of Hiroshima, an account of the first atomic bombing by bestseller author Charles Pellegrino, which Cameron attempts to adopt for a big screen, the filmmaker behind 3 of the 4 highest grossing films of all time, blah, 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 blah. I wonder, someone hit Cameron up and tell him about the Jesuit 8. By the way, there's Catholics that don't have a clue who the Jesuit 8 are. Other guys who survived the atomic bombs, if you don't know, in Hiroshima. Blue whales mysteriously going silent off California coast, alarming scientists. Scientists usually alarmed. Amazon Web Services, AWS, if you're nasty, gives the Trump administration $1 billion coupon because, yeah, they just can't. AWS has given Trump administration a $1 billion coupon to use their services for the federal government's digital transformation and artificial intelligence capacity. On Thursday, the General Services Administration, GSA, announced the sweeping OneGov agreement with AWS that would yield up to $1 billion in cost savings for federal agencies shifting to cloud services. Yay! Dun, dun, dun. JD Vance's Secret Service ridiculed for raising Ohio River water levels for birthday canoeing trip. Isn't it great to be king? Vice President JD Vance went canoeing with his family for his 31st birthday in Ohio. But thanks to the Secret Service detail, it became more complicated than usual. Vance went out on the Little Miami River near Cincinnati. The Secret Service requested that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Louisville District temporarily increase the flow of water from Cedar Creek Lake to raise the levels of the river. Trump energizes conservative Christians with new religious policies. And obviously, half the people there, this lady, the lady in yellow is a total wackadoo. In his first half of year office and his tariff campaign, government slashing moves, and immigration crackdown, President and future King DJT is also repeatedly delivered for conservative Christians who form the bedrock of his Republican support. While he has made overtures to Jewish, Muslim, and other religious groups, his Christian supporters have been among his most high-profile surrogates and appointees, and also cheerleaders, bootlickers, and all that jazz. We're bringing back religion in our country. Trump contended in a Rose Garden event on the National Day of Prayer back in May. His faith advisor, crazy heretic Paula White-Cain, proclaimed that his administration faith has been brought back to where it always belongs, and that is center. Netanyahu hosts 20 House Republicans, aka crazy heretical Christians, in Israel. Israeli Prime Minister and war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu said on Wednesday he hosted a delegation of House Republicans who were in Israel quinky-dinkly on a trip organized by pro-Israel lobby group AIPAC as members of Congress are flocking to the country amid their August recesses. Can't make this stuff up, though. U.S. attorney and talking head from Fox, Judge Jean, we have a problem with anti-Semitism in this country. The FBI and NPD, we're going back to look for these cases. We're going to prosecute these cases. I will go forward with every case with vengeance. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you're not allowed to criticize. Israel. If you're looking for the answer, Israel. Israeli forces killed 98 Palestinians in Gaza over 48 hours. Please don't say anything against them. How did Gaza get flattened? War criminal Bibi Netanyahu. Hamas booby traps every single building. As RT says, watch Bibi gaslight Fox News in real time. In other Israeli news, Israel will take control of all of Gaza, but Netanyahu claims not forever. He wrote a funny. Grok, is that Gaza? AI image checks mislocate news photographs. And you get that a lot. Grok, people will say, hey, Grok, is this right? Hey, Grok, is this right? And they expect an answer. And usually it's not right. But they turn their brains off just for the AI to come up with things. By the way, based on recent discussions on X, the water usage for Grok AI has been estimated as follows. Grok, approximately 162,000 liters per hour of operation. This figure is broader than this is part of a broader conversation about the environmental impact of AI models, specifically highlighting the water consumption for cooling AI data centers where these AI operations run. However, it is important to note that the estimates might reflect peak usage or specific operational scenarios rather than average daily use. I also saw before, I don't think it's here, that one question to Grok takes like 2 gallons maybe of water. It's something like that. It's quite a bit. United blames technological disruption for 1,000 plus flights delayed. They grounded more than 1,000 flights today. A flight tracker website, FlightWatch, showed 1,092 delays for the airline company. Transportation Secretary Sean P. Diddy Duffy said that the post online that he was briefed on these issues, and the Trump administration has made updating technology and boosting recruitment and air traffic control a priority. U.S. House subpoenas the Clintons and ex-FBI directors. Top U.S. officials have been ordered to testify in an oversight probe involving late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Sun reports hot seat Bill and Hillary Clinton could face jail time if they refuse to testify in Trump's admin's Jeffrey Epstein investigation. You know, the one that Trump has actually said doesn't exist is, you know what, BS is a hoax, and whatever, some other thing that he said. Anyways, I doubt anybody goes to jail. New study raises concerns over universal basic income, UBI, plans. In my forthcoming book, Rage and the Republic, the unfinished story of the American Revolution, I explore how the American Republic can survive the 21st century given unprecedented economic, technological, and political changes. The book addresses the increasing calls for the UBI. Various Democratic cities are already implementing UBI systems. We talked about this last year quite often, but likewise, reports indicate a $400 monthly payment in Chelsea, Massachusetts increased food spending and did not measurably reduce work, but it failed to produce results for the researchers' team's primary downstream outcomes, namely self-reported health and child school attendance. Yeah, don't worry. There's plenty of that's coming. Florida woman arrested for allegedly posing as nurse and treating more than 4,000 patients with a stolen license. Autumn Bardisa, 29, allegedly helped provide care to 4,486 patients from June 2024 to this January, despite never holding a valid nursing license. You know, in a sense, I kind of like it. You know, because you don't have any, you have to have a license to do everything. You have to pay some kind of money. But if she knew what she was doing and didn't have a license, I'd be fine with it. I mean, license. You ever met a nurse that couldn't get a IV in you? And they have a license. The health food now linked to Lou Gehrig's disease. Toxic cousin of the gourmet delicacy could put foodies at risk of a devastating and irreversible neurological disorder. Some mushroom. Sought after wild mushrooms. The true morel is one of the most luxurious and sought after wild mushrooms. Well, a lot of mushrooms are very, 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 very good for you. Some mushrooms are not. It all depends on what it is, how much you put in, what kind, all that. You have to be very. I only stick with like 3 mushrooms, or 4. And I'm no mushroom guru. La Quinta investigating Miami's viral remote receptionist. A visitor seemed stumped during a recent trip to Miami La Quinta when they had to check in using a remote receptionist. I saw this I think it was last week I saw that. Real Ghostbusters of Tokyo clear out city's old haunts. Buyers and landlords of property where the death has taken place know who to call. In Japan, hey, the season of the ghost stories in August. While the West is in spirits of the dead and believed to return in the world in late October, in Japan, ghosts before the warmer months. Next week's families will gather to honor the spirits of their ancestors with the festival of Obon. Yeah, if you want to read this, it's on the show notes. I gotta send this to a couple. I'm gonna send this to father after this. I didn't. He'll get a kick out of that. The CDC has issued a travel warning over the viral outbreak in China that is spread by mosquito bites. That we've talked about this over yesterday and last couple of days. More than 7,000 cases reported. If they have dragonflies, there's no more mosquitoes. They'll eat them. But if you spray the mosquitoes, which they're trying to spray them, you'll kill the things that eat the mosquitoes. This common fruit has over 1,600 compounds that boost brain, heart, and gut health. Grapes. Fresh grapes contain a potent mix of over 1,600 compounds that benefit heart, brain, skin, and gut health. You think about wine, things like that. I got a grape tree in the back, and obviously it's in a pot. It's going pretty good, but if I had trellis and things like that, it would do even better. But it's not hard to grow grapes. Miss Murphy's, if you want to get the Miss Murphy variety of grapes, it's an easy one to grow. RFKJ's food revolution begins next month. Taxpayers shouldn't go to junk food that makes our kids sick. Taxpayer dollars. We're fixing that step by step. Ooh, baby, to make America healthy again. USDA Secretary Rollins announced that 6 more states, including Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Colorado, Oklahoma, and West by God, Virginia, have signed waivers to exclude junk food from SNAP. 5 states previously been granted waivers: Utah, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, and Nebraska, and the list continues to grow. I hope to get all 50 states to join this common sense approach. Here it is, just in case you didn't know where I was talking about. Here's a map of that. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston announces that citizens are now banned from entering the woods, including hiking, to prevent wildfires. Only you can prevent wildfires by never going into the woods. That's one way to do it. You know why I can end wildfires? You just ban people from going into the wild. Isn't that how we ban people from having car accidents? We just get rid of cars. And this is the first time I said, Pete Hetzeg, well done. I'm proud to announce that Moses' Ezekiel, a beautiful and historic sculpture, often referred to as the Reconciliation Monument, will be rightfully be returned to Arlington National Cemetery near his burial site. It never should have been taken down by woke lemons. Unlike the left, we don't believe in erasing American history. We honor it. Now, the funny thing is, he's brought back Fort Bragg, but it's not the same Bragg. So they've kind of erased some history with it by just going to change. Hey, we got you the name back. Not the same guy. But this is a good one. Very good, because it is a good monument. If you know any of the history behind it, for anybody to call that a racist thing, it just shows somebody was completely moronic. And for anybody to agree with moving it was even dumber. But this is the Blaze Media talking about the statue was taken apart and created by Lloyd Austin in 2023. They reached the deal to install Moses Jacob Ezekiel's famed gravesite sculpture in Arlington Cemetery. The Beltway brief has learned after Virginia accepted the request from Secretary of Defense SecDef Pete Hetzeg, talking head, Fox, good-looking dude, Hetzeg, to display the statue in the cemetery it was intended for, near the grave of its artist. The display is part of a 50-year loan from the Commonwealth that goes a long way toward healing recent desecrations. The announcement comes just over a year and a half after the statue was unceremoniously torn down and shipped to an Old Dominion warehouse by then SecDef Lloyd Austin. Good. If you want, I should have had this prepared already. Go to Brian McClanahan YouTube channel, type in Arlington Cemetery. He'll give you a great historical background on this monument. South Carolina in sports, and good news to finish off. South Carolina becomes like, it's not good news if you're from Florida on this. Irmo, South Carolina, in which I used to play old man's league baseball at Irmo High School. There was a lot, so know that area well. Irmo, South Carolina takes down defending Little League World Series champions from Florida and is heading to Williamsport for the first time. Yeah. Yeah, I was born in Florida, but I grew up most of my life in South Carolina, so this was cool to see. Anyways, have a great rest of the day. Where's the click, like, and subscribe stuff at? Here it is. Like, subscribe, comment, the whole 9 yards. Thank you for listening. I'll be here with Rick in a few hours doing News from the Pew on the News from the Pew channel. So check that out. Also, you want to support the Census Fidelium efforts, check out censusfidelium.tv. That's a good way to be able to, it's kind of like a Patreon, except it's not the craziness the Patreon does. And you get a lot of the 800 videos are always on there. I'll be updating. And when I get some more people supporting that, I'll add the TV apps to that. Easy to do. I just contact them and say, hey, add TV and let's go. So anyways, have a great rest of the day. Talk to you later. And yeah, have a good night.